first of all, thank you, JP Morgan Chase. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Angeles. I happen to sit on all sorts of sides of the table here. I'm an investor. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been in corporate. So my name's Guillermo Diaz, and I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Conectado Inc. And I'm here today with some very, very, special people, special to me, because I've not just they're not just here on the panel, but I get to work with them probably at least every day, if not for sure every week. We're in communication, but I'll just kind of go down the list a little bit here, and I'll start with Dr. Cristina Serrano, Mr. Gene Hayes, Dr. Amir Bamani, and Aditi Gupta, right? We did this, we practiced this because I said, I want to get your name right because I know what it feels like to be called Gorillamo and Geronimo and these sorts of things, right? So, but today we want to really talk about this bridge from education to entrepreneurship. And probably everyone in this room, even though we might not think of it, we're the 1%. You're all the 1%. And what we want to be able to do is be able to build the pipeline, build the bridges, and build the mass, because we know that the Latinos are the engine, the growth engine of the United States. And especially if you look at the entrepreneurship, we are the growth engine of the United States, but it starts where? We need to start in the education system. And that's what you all are here today to talk about. But I want to start with why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why is this important to you? I know because I feel it every day when I talk to you, because we're partners, but Dr. Cristina Serrano, tell us about your why. You're a professor, you're a faculty at UC Berkeley, PhD from UC Berkeley, and you also work at this other small university called Stanford. And so tell us about your why and why you're doing what you're doing.
I did this because, Stanford and Berkeley have quite the rivalry going on. So it's interesting to be across both places. My why, so I like to say I'm in the business of making change makers. And so just quickly in a nutshell, the reason I accessed higher education was because I was track and field athlete. So I was lucky enough to get full ride to UC Berkeley, track and field. And were it not for that, I would not have, I would just not be where I am today. And so that bothers me because it's not that I'm any smarter than any of my community members or my family members. It just was luck that enabled me to find this place. And then finally, once I came back, not as an athlete, but as a true student, just the opportunity to have the mentors, the relationships, sort of people helping me navigate into a PhD. And then just those people make a difference in terms of my ability to see myself as someone who can achieve those things, but also give back, right, in that way. And so for me, change making and entrepreneurship, they're one and the same. It's about solving problems and hopefully making a positive impact in the world and helping young people really see themselves as agents of change. And so I get to do that work every day, and it's truly a privilege. Otherwise, I would be really like in the corner crying because it's hard to feel like, what impact can I have in the world? There's so many things to solve. And so it's an honor to be able to work with young people, be a part of their journey, support their ability to achieve their dreams and make the impact in the world. And that's how I get to scale myself. So that's my why.
Awesome. So Gene Hayes from Oaxaca, Mexico, okay? And so, Gene, Western Governors University.
Yep.
Okay, I think many people may not have ever heard of Western Governors, but Western Governors, I'll let you do this, but fastest growing university in the United States. Tell us your why and why you know, even Western governors.
Thank you, Guillermo.
Well, according to my badge last night, I'm Guernillo.
Well, a pleasure to be here. As you heard, Gene Hayes from Oaxaca, Mexico. I grew up without a father. My mother did not have an education. She started working when she was 15, really hard. She instilled the values of hard work, the aspiration to obtain an education, and honesty and integrity in my brother and me. I believe in the transformative power of education. I believe that it changes lives, it opens doors. I subscribe to the thought that ability is of little account without opportunity, and opportunities come sometimes, as Cristina mentioned, through luck, through connections, through hard work, through many other efforts that many of you make that open doors to opportunity. I believe in the power of kindness and tolerance. I believe in serving our fellow beings. And most importantly, I have a firm conviction that we are all, regardless of our ethnicity, culture, language, country of origin, we are all alike in most ways than we are different, in many more ways than we are different. Therefore, I really believe that whenever we talk about education or we talk about transforming someone's lives, that is where we need to start from. And of course, we have a little bit of interest in the Hispanic community. Guillermo already mentioned the growth, the statistics don't lie. There's a lot of potential, but we shouldn't neglect other communities who also need to be served. And finally, I'm gonna just share something else that I believe is who I am and the why I am in education. I have been in higher ed for over 20 years. I started my career at Intel Corporation, but 6 after that, I went to higher ed and I have never looked back. And there is a quote that says that fascism is cured by reading and racism is cured by traveling. And the more I traveled the world in my prior role outside of Western Governors University with an institution called Brigham Young University Pathway Worldwide, which is the online arm of the BYU system of education, I learned that there's talent and kindness and you know, the same desires that I have as far as family and a happy life and security and all of that everywhere I go. So my why is I want to provide, the mission of WGU aligns with my why. The mission of WGU is probably the simplest in all of higher ed. And it says to change lives for the better by creating pathways to opportunity. Pathways to opportunity is what makes a difference. And education is one of those, obviously.
Thank you, Gene. So Dr. Amir Bamani, so you and I go way back, right? He actually calls me Memo. And so I still remember when you came to me one time and said, hey, I'm thinking about building this cloud. You know, you're a cloud guy, how do I do it? And then the next thing you know, there was a cloud built. And then you said, hey, I want to get access to the fastest growing community, which is the Latino community or these underrepresented communities, because I feel like the medical industry doesn't have enough talent to support the medical needs of the next decade. And we met at Stanford. You got your team together, and next thing you know, we're building a bioinformatics. I was like, what the heck's bioinformatics? But we have a bioinformatics curriculum that we've worked on together. But there's a why in this journey, and the why in bioinformatics. Can you maybe unpack that a little bit?
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Memo. It's a pleasure to be here, Amir Bamani, and I'm a lecturer and computer scientist, but for the last 10 years, I've been working in a school of medicine. And yeah, I have a couple of reasons. The first one is around increasing awareness.
Stanford School of
At
Medicine.
Stanford School of Medicine, I work with, collaborated with Duke Cancer Institute, with Illumina. So been since 2014. I was first, in a School of Engineering as an engineer, and I will tell you a little bit about it. So the first reason that, I am here is increasing awareness around the fact that, we don't have equal opportunities, right? For people like myself, for instance, in 2000. Between 2010 to 2017, I'm Iranian American right now, but I've been in conferences like in Supercomputing Conference 2013. I was told that, hey, you can't be here, you can't talk to these scientists, for instance, So I think as Gene and Christine mentioned, these are major factors right now around us, like, your place of your origin of birth, your genome, your DNA, and your parent incomes. Unfortunately, they're impacting, a lot of students, and I will tell you more about it. But that's the first reason that I'm here. The second one is around creating more opportunities for students coming from underserved communities. And in 2014, my wife, Somera, she was also a student in North Carolina. She was misdiagnosed, for like months, and suddenly she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I lost her to cancer, and I shifted my career to the field of medicine. I think we are moving away from hunch-based or guess-based medicine to data-driven medicine. And as we are moving away from there, we have a great opportunity to prepare the next generation of bioinformaticians from underserved community, like what India did in 1980s, for instance, by investing in IT industry. So we can see that there's a lot of experts coming from that country. So now we have a great opportunity to do that. So that's why I'm here. And the third one is like, I look like a Latino. So
And that's why you work with Conectado, right?
that's right. Exactly.
So he says it now with kind of a little bit of a crackle, but that why the data, the intersection of data, computer, and medical data and science is why I said I'm going to do this bioinformatics with this guy, because he, I don't know if for me, when he said that about his wife, if they had the right data at the right time and diagnosed, that could have changed his life, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. He didn't say that way, but I wanted to make sure that was clear. Aditi, how about you? You come from a little bit different lens than education, but what's your why?
I think it's very unfair that I had to go after Amir, but I think there's a compelling story. So I have a few whys. Well, now it's on the floor. I think for me, the why really starts with there are incredible people in this room. There are incredible founders and investors who have deep experience, and a lot of that comes from a desire of learning and curiosity. So I, while I cannot call myself a founder because I'm not, perhaps the through line is a deep love for entrepreneurship and for innovation. And you might say, I don't get it. How does that connect to banking whatsoever? I started my career at B of A. I worked at MUFG, which is the 4th largest bank in the world. And while I was there, I actually started our education technology sector coverage team. So I worked on private equity and LBOs transactions in the EdTech space specifically across enterprise learning as well as higher ed. And I saw how impactful financing these institutions and truly learning to be an advocate for those companies was. Because as a banker, while we might be painted with a certain type of brush, there's also a deep passion to advocate for our clients and to absolutely do what's right. I left MUFG, loved my job, but I really wanted to be in the Silicon Valley network. I had lived here for a long time, and so I started at SVB. I was there for 15 months before.
SVB is?
So I was at Silicon Valley Bank for 15 months, and we know what happened. I am now at JP Morgan, which I am really grateful for because we have invested so much time and resources into building our innovation economy team. We cover from pre-seed to seed to Series A through IPO, pre-IPO companies. We're sector verticalized, which means we bring this like sector expertise that you can't just find anywhere on the market. I can tell you I've covered EdTech now for 6+ years. I understand all flavors of transactions and all types of companies. I don't know everything. You know everything. But I can tell you maybe broadly, what are the macro things that I'm seeing? And that comes from a deep love and curiosity of what's happening in EdTech. That is not the only sector we cover, but happy to cover off on the broader JP Morgan picture maybe a bit later. But that's my why.
Thank you, Aditi. So I want to so why that was important is I think why and even why we're in this room is I think we're innovators, but that innovation also comes from a deep why from each of us, and so now I want to kind of change a little bit to kind of pipeline innovation, what we're building. Christina, Dr. Christina, you're doing a tremendous job with something called Changemakers. And Changemakers is, and we're working closely with you, but you're building this pipeline of innovators, of the next entrepreneurs, the next Angeles venture companies, or those folks that might be working for somebody in this room. Tell us a little bit about Changemaker and why that innovation and what's the deal behind Changemakers.
Yeah, so the Berkeley Changemaker Initiative was started by, it was born in the Haas School of Business by our now soon-to-be chancellor, Rich Lyons. And it was